It was the 1990s, a big show in a small town off I-75 in Georgia. They were called the biggest cocks in the henhouse. But things have changed since then. It's been 30 years, and they finally found a home here, like everyone else, doing a podcast. It's Erica and Mark, the phone call podcast thing.
I love the ring. Hello.
Hey,
Great.
guess
ring.
what? We're
What?
famous again.
Oh God. Is it something I did?
Well, not you. You probably don't know it.
I don't even post on Facebook, man. I didn't piss anybody off. I did nothing. It
You
was
do
somebody
post
else.
on
They broke
Facebook, and
into
what
my
you
account.
do, you are pissing people off. But that's besides.
I posted one picture of my daughter flipping off the camera because I thought it was funny. That's like the only Facebook post I've made in 6 months. It's not about that, is it?
No.
Oh,
Well,
okay, good.
we've been. I know it's going to sound weird because it's going to sound like I'm explaining to more than one person.
You're gathering a thought, I can tell.
Yes. Now I want to see how I wanted to word this. So when I tell you this, it's going to sound like I'm talking to, I don't know, anywhere from 2 people, including yourself, to maybe 50,000.
50,000.
Yeah.
You trying to make me nervous?
Well, I'm going to record our phone calls.
Oh, is that a good idea?
Only if you say something wrong, and then I can actually use it as a blackmail. But you don't have enough money to really blackmail anyway. And,
You don't know how much money
well,
I
your
have.
stuff is always tied up in cars, and you're never going to give me your car. You just tell me, go ahead and post it, jackass, and that would be the end of that.
Oh, the freaking depreciation has hit my car so bad
Already?
All the equity, just about all of it I have is just about gone. It's happened to everybody. It was about, hey, look, man, I kept that going for over a decade where I had equity and money and I kept trading up and now I'm just fucked.
Well, we're going to tell everybody welcome.
Yes, welcome.
To
Please
our-
don't cancel me. Oh, also, you can't cancel me because I don't care.
We don't really care about that at all.
No, I don't care. I don't care if you're offended.
So most people now in radio have left. The good guys have all left, just about.
They've been canceled.
Because of either by force or by I can't work under these rules anymore.
That's us.
So, and I retired, and you haven't really retired, but you did switch careers, that's for sure.
I switched to television because it's like radio for grown-ups, and I didn't get fired that much, and I got fired a couple of times in radio, but it wasn't anything I did, I don't think. It was when a format changed or a new company came in and got rid of everybody. But I've had this radio job or this TV job for 25 years. I always tell everybody, yeah, I've been working here for 25 years, but I'm just between radio jobs, and I'll get another one. We all know that's never going to happen.
Well, I know there's a guy that you know by name, but you don't know personally. And he has a thing called the Podcast Playground now.
Oh,
And
podcast.
and what he said.
Well, that sounds a little creepy.
Well, it
if
does
you,
sound a little creepy. I would.
It does. Do I want
of
to be
all
on
the
that? I don't want to be on that.
But believe it or not, they kind of almost want to pay us to record our phone calls. So I said, I'm in, and so is Erica.
Mark, this feels like a
So I
trick.
signed your name to the contract, and
This is exactly how I got buried alive when we were on the radio in Macon, Georgia. I was out of town for a convention, and he was pissed at me because he couldn't come to the convention, so he volunteered me to get buried alive
I do
for
remember
a
that.
wacky radio
I
stunt.
remember that, and it was you just.
Yeah.
But who came behind you and did it the next couple of days? I did.
It's only because I guilted you and I swore at
And
you.
we could talk about that in a little bit. First, I just want to tell everybody, my name is Mark.
My name is Erica. Isn't that on the podcast?
Yes, it's probably in the intro that came in. We paid a big voice guy to take care of us.
Is this the playground? Is that what we're going to call it?
No,
Because I don't like
we're
that.
calling,
if that's
no,
what
we're
it
not
is.
even going to call it a podcast because
Whew.
I don't know. I think it's overused.
So this is basically me and Mark's phone
Yeah,
call.
it's
I
the
guess.
phone call.
And we've decided to just turn that into a podcast. have
Well,
we?
yeah, we're going to record our phone call. I'm going to record the phone call.
So we think that our phone call is so fucking interesting that people would listen
Well, when I see little girls,
on the playground. Why did
No.
you have to tell
No.
me it was that?
okay, I'm sorry.
Just to edit that part out.
But
Or don't.
I see people doing all kinds of dumb stuff on Facebook and TikTok and making money.
Yeah.
So I figured I want in on some of this.
Oh, we're going to get rich doing a podcast?
I don't think we're going to get rich. I'll be lucky if we don't just break even. But I just figured,
Aren't you so old that you're on Social Security?
I am on Social Security. That's all.
Well, then you're going to have to give all the money to me.
Well, I'm going to give you a majority of it, depending on how much. I can only make $20,000. That's all I'm allowed to make.
I'm starting to like this idea better and better.
So Eric and I were on in the mid 90s, I guess, right?
Mid-90s, yeah. 30 years ago.
Was it the mid 90s or was it the early 90s? No, it was the mid-90s.
It was like 92, 93 to 96, I think.
And what we did was morning radio.
What we did was not care.
But yeah, we spent
kind of like this.
Yeah, well, it was kind of odd because I did a little bit of work. Back then you didn't have all the social media and things like that. So
all right, hold on. I'm going to stop him right
Okay.
here. You did all the work because I didn't do anything but show up and run the board and play the Led Zeppelin songs. You produced the entire show. You decided what we were going to talk about. I wrote the news that I got out of the USA Today and out of the Macon Telegraph.
I forgot we had
That's
to do
all I did.
news. That's right. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
that's literally
That's how
all I
old
did.
it was. We were still doing news.
Yes, the news brought to you by so-and-so's Windows. We don't still have to do that, do we?
No. We can if we want to, but it would be our money straight up. So if somebody wanted to buy this podcast,
I like that.
we could do
All
live
right.
reads and we get to keep the money straight up.
Yeah.
That was part of the rules, but it's
If this is going to be on the playground, no one's going to buy this.
well, it's not going to be on a playground. What they do is they turn around. I send them the stuff, and then they put it on all those different places where you can get your podcast.
Okay, so they put them on Spotify and iTunes,
Yes.
and iHeart has one too.
I think iHeart, I still call them Capstar.
Capstar. They were Clear Channel before they were iHeart.
I know, and they were Capstar before that.
That was ABC. That's a different thing.
No, I think wasn't it Capstar at one time?
I think it was ABC Capstar.
Before iHeart, it was Clear Channel. Before Clear Channel, it was something else. J-Core.
It was J-Core, and then before J-Core, it was fun. It was fun to be in radio because not one giant group owned everything. That's what it was. It was mom and pop shop, and it really wasn't fun because everybody was so cheap that we had a station van in Macon that would break down pretty much every time that we took it out. So I bought a Polaroid camera with my own money, and I left it in the van. And I told all the jocks, when that van breaks down and we got to get it towed, I want you to take a picture because I'm going to make a collage in my office of all the times the van got towed. And then I'm going to show that to the owner of the station. I know you don't want to buy us a new van, but last year we spent $11,000 on tows and repairs.
Well, see, this is one thing people don't realize about radio because you think it's glamorous. You think it's nothing more than just playing records and
no, that's really what
and
it was.
you do that part, but there's a lot of nonsense because the people that would barely pay us for our job, and listen, I'm not going to be like the girl basketball player now that's complaining because she makes $70,000 in the NBA.
First of all, she's not making $70,000. She's making millions.
Well, with sponsorships and all that, right? All the money.
No, she's going to make. So
okay,
if
so
you
the
look
news
at
is lying again. Fake news.
If you look at the money that men's basketball makes, it's hundreds of millions of dollars. Women's basketball makes dozens of dollars.
$56.72.
You can't pay somebody $30 million a year for a sport that brings in like $12 million a year. You can't pay one.
Well, what I
person.
was thinking myself is like I remember I used to be that guy that was complaining all the time.
Hey, so did I.
And I look back and I go, well, you know what? Did you or did you not sign the contract and say, yes, I will work for less than I feel I'm worth? And the answer is yes. So who am I mad at? Really? Myself.
Yourself.
And no one did anything about. But
we all make our own deals, don't we?
The van situation, if you think they don't take care of people, they don't take care of their vehicles either. We had a Hummer that was constantly on the back of at the last station I worked out in Florida was constantly on the back of a tow truck. And the poor girls I would send out there, to to go out there, and then they would be on the side of the road. At least they got.
You let cute little Lindsay drive that
Yes.
Hummer when at K Rock. Oh,
Hey, she,
she was like 20 years old.
I know. But you know what? She got a really good lesson in life.
Yeah, how to call a tow
So
truck.
when everyone started messing with her and not paying her what she's worth now, which is probably a lot more than what she's getting paid, I would say at least she knows that she expected it.
Lindsay is a person who paid her dues and excelled and is doing very
Yeah.
well.
But
We're very proud of her. She's like our other daughter, isn't she?
yes, she is. She is my
Lindsay.
radio daughter.
Lindsay made it all the way to the Loop in Chicago.
Yep, she's still sitting in Atlanta making pretty decent money
And babies.
and making
Yeah,
babies.
she's doing
Yep.
Yep, she's doing great.
So, if you were looking for a mission statement to our podcast, that's it. We're going to talk about nothing and a lot
I
about
was
it.
doing that.
That's our mission statement.
We're going to talk about conspiracy theories because one of us is a little more paranoid than the other and has theories about forced reincarnation and the moon.
Yes. And
The other one is a born again Christian.
yes.
Guess which one I am?
Yeah, I'm a little church boy that's still in recovery. Celebrating my
I might-
recovery from drugs and alcohol and sex outside my marriage. And my name
And
is Mark.
I'm very sorry. My name is Erica, and I will occasionally let the F word fly, and I apologize in advance to the playground. That's not what we're calling the show, right?
What?
The playground?
No. It's who's
Where did you get that
well,
from?
it's the person's company that's going to help us put it up on all the whatever they go on.
Oh, okay.
He's doing
I
all
need
the
to-
he's doing all that legwork for us, so we don't.
Gotcha.
And how he gets paid is he's going to get some commercials in the thing.
So let's be clear. I have nothing to do with the playground.
No, neither do I.
Other than I work for it.
You don't even work for it. We're a W-9 employee.
What does that mean?
You don't want to know what a W-9 employee is? That's
Pretend I have an accountant that does my taxes.
okay. A W-9 employee. Well, W-9 was the things they used to try to want to give you when we did remotes, when they were supposed to be cash on
Oh
the
yeah,
barrel.
no, shove those away. We
Yes.
don't need to know about that.
So we'll get a W-9
Straight
at the
down.
end of the year saying this is how much you got paid.
I see. So I'll just give that to my accountant and she can handle it because I was of the opinion that this is like radio. And I used to have a T-shirt that said "Straight Cash, Homie" that I would wear to the remotes that we would do.
Well, that was back before the takeover of radio. We could do that because that's how the small business owner that owned the radio station wanted to pay us was with remote money.
Dude, I have some radio friends who don't get paid to do remotes anymore because it's quote part of their job now.
Oh, we had that rumor of that was a lot of sales talk there for a while towards the end of my career before I retired in 2000, whatever it was, 22. And so it's actually becoming a thing now, huh?
I guess so.
Oh,
I would
good
never do
Lord.
that. I would just look at them and laugh and say, I'm going to be by the pool on Saturday. Should you care to pay me $500, I could be swayed to leave.
Crazy.
Huh?
All right, so we need to, I guess, talk more about ourselves. What do you think about that?
Oh, enough about me. Tell me more about me. That's what I always say.
Erica and Mark. The phone call.
As you can tell, this if it was a podcast, this is what I might have a little disclaimer here. If this was a podcast that would require me to do prep work, be prepared,
It's not going to require me to do any of that shit, is it?
Ugh.
Ugh.
and put out a great product. So this is why we're calling it the phone call, because this is
What it is. Mark and I talk on the phone all the time, and somehow he said, we should turn this into a podcast. So this is kind of a podcast, though.
So do you want me to go first on me?
Isn't that what we're doing? Didn't we come back? Isn't this the show?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So again, we had found out later on in some of our phone calls in the past, because we haven't worked together now for over 30 years or close to 30 years.
It's been close to. It hasn't been 30 yet, but coming up.
So apparently, I always felt really close to Erica. So and more of a friend than a coworker. And Erica has been one of the best people that I've been able to speak to.
Stop it.
This is true that I used to be able to tell my stuff to, and you gave me some of the best advice because it was just common sense.
Was it harsh advice?
No, but it was never one of those things where there's always that friend where you say, man, I'm having trouble with my marriage. I got that. F her. Blah, 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 blah. You always get that one.
I would
not
never
the
say
right
that,
answer.
no.
No, you never say things like that.
I liked your ex-wife. I had no problem
I
with her.
thought I shared everything with you, but apparently
You didn't.
I did not, because some of the things I've said to you in other phone calls in the past, like when I talked about my drugs and my drinking and some of the other things,
I believe my response was, you had cocaine and didn't share it with me? You asshole.
And I was very well known for that in my head. Most people didn't know. I didn't say it out loud.
I had no idea that you were doing
I would literally have, when I was partying back in the 80s, hardcore, I was working as a DJ on Fort Lauderdale Beach.
What was your DJ name?
Mark in the Dark. Same name it was when I went to Top 40 Radio right out of DJ school.
Oh, they got the 80s called.
So I would party. I would party a little bit with the barbacks because the liquor store closet was next to my DJ booth.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they would get something, they would sneak a bottle of, back then it would either be like Goldschlager or Zambuca or some kind of liqueur that you're supposed to sip, but I would guzzle.
Yeah, something that tasted like medicine that you were like, give it all to me.
Yes. So I would, and I would party hardcore, but after hours, if we were going somewhere or if I met a girl or whatever, we were going to the next level, which was usually like the Button South in Hallandale. Do you know that one?
I do.
Okay. Which was to 6 a.m. club.
Yeah, I went to college in Fort Lauderdale in the late 80s, so yeah, I remember all those. I remember
Or
the
we
Button.
go to a 4 a.m. club, or
Penrod's.
we go to what they called, this was my favorite one, the Private Bottle Club. You know what that is?
Oh, that sounds expensive.
Private Bottle Club, and it was basically drunks, rich people that were drunks, bartenders and barbacks and DJs that were drunks, and then drunks. And then girls that like to hang around with people like that, which
So,
you would
strippers.
think would be a very small crowd.
Strippers.
But no, a lot.
A lot of
Yes.
strip. Yeah.
Yeah. And what they would do is you bring a bottle and they hold it for you. And they pay you to pour it and pay like $5 for mixers.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have a liquor license, so they could be open 23 hours a day. 23 hours a day. So there for a while, I was running pretty hard. But if I saw you and you were holding, and I knew you were holding, I'd never say to you, hey, you go to the bathroom and get a bump. What I would say was, you holding? And then you would say, would I go to the bathroom and get a bump? And I say, yes.
I wouldn't say this. I didn't know him
No.
then. You were so much cooler than me.
But never using my own, only for me.
Right.
It's like selfish, idiotic. But
Fucking cokeheads. Ugh.
Yeah. So yeah, this is. I'm not bragging about this. We call these war stories in the 12-step programs, but I'm not bragging about it. Horrible time. Made a lot of bad mistakes. Fortunately, thank you, Jesus, as I would say, or as Erica would say, thank you, world.
Thank you to the moon for recycling my problems after I die.
But I never got arrested or
That's
anything
good.
like that. So yeah, but it was a hard run to 1988.
So I'm more of a badass than you. I got put into handcuffs in the back of a cop car in Macon one night.
Well, I can't say I never was arrested.
You just said you never were arrested.
Well, I was never arrested for that.
Oh, all right. Are you do I not know this story too?
You probably don't know this
Oh
story.
my God, there's more. What else are you keeping from
So,
me?
My friends and I, this is before my DJ time, and this is when I was just a young rock and roller.
Okay, this is
It's-
before you had your
okay.
DJ voice. Please welcome Shelly. Shelly's coming up to the stage. before
this is
that.
the 1970, late 1970s. Okay, so I'm out of high school. My hair is about as long as your hair is now, but I'm cutting it off because I just saw a movie called Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, I was like 9. How
And
old
I,
are you?
I saw that movie and I said, wow. So I went to one of these places, these discotheques, right, with my friends, and we're like, oh my, the Button South girls don't look like anything like this. I mean, everybody looked like a model out of a magazine.
Was there cocaine in that movie?
I
don't
think there
know.
might have been.
I
There
don't.
might
I'm
have
not.
been.
I'm not sure I ever saw that.
But
whole
back
movie.
then, I wasn't even involved in that. There, all I was doing back then was drinking, and that's it. I wasn't even smoking weed anymore. And and I cut my hair off, slicked it back, got myself a leisure suit, and I just went to town. So we were out almost every Friday and Saturday night. It was literally like Saturday Night Fever. It was like work 5 days a week, just enough money to get your cover charge for Pete Lenny's and Fort Lauderdale. Anybody from Fort Lauderdale might know that place, or one of those places, or Studio 50, not 54, 51.
Couldn't afford the 54.
Or the Limelight down in Hollywood, and we go out. So we're coming out of this place. There was a bar. I can't remember what the name of it is, but you know where the Federal Highway kind of hits the airport
Yeah.
in Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah.
Okay, there was a bar back in that corner, and we come out of there. And
Oh, we
you
all know
how-
the airport bars are the best ones.
And you know the US 1 there, or Dixie Highway, Federal
Yeah.
Highway. It's called different things, different way, but it's US 1. Always had in that area between Dania and Fort Lauderdale. That's where the strippers, and the hookers hung out, right?
Yeah.
So there were some hookers outside. And we're walking, right? We're walking down the road heading back towards our cars. And there's a girl, hey guys, what you doing?
Mm-hmm.
So we're half liquored up and we say, nothing.
sure.
What are you doing? She
I
goes,
hope this
You
is
want-
a cop.
you want a party?
Uh-huh.
It is a cop.
I knew
You
it.
don't know this. I should have known because she was too good, too
Yeah, the
Decent
good-looking
looking.
ones. Yeah. They got to have
she
like
didn't look
open
she had,
sores.
yeah, she didn't look like she
Yeah.
had heroin. On
No
her mind.
open sores, no herpes.
So, I don't know which one of us. It might have been me. I don't know the whole story because it's kind of fuzzy because it's a long time ago. But we decided she could do all 5 of us for a quarter.
Wow, a quarter. Oh,
Being a smart aleck kid,
wow.
right? Well, guess what?
Yeah.
That was enough. Money was offered for sexual services. Here comes
Yeah.
the squad
Here
cars
comes the
coming in.
handcuffs. Swarm, we got him.
5 of us in the holding tank in Broward at the Broward County Jail
Oh my God, how
in
old are
downtown
you?
Fort Lauderdale. I think I'm 18,
Oh God,
19, because you could drink back then.
yeah.
And next thing you know, they're saying, talk to us about it. And they finally just came in. They were trying to scare us, basically playing scared straight.
Yeah.
And then they came in and brought us all in individually. And then at the end, they kept us there till, I don't know what time it was, but it was daylight when we came out. And probably 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. And they just
for a
let us
quarter.
go. Well, you know what? They wanted to teach us a lesson. I think is what it was.
Yeah.
So, but they really knew that was just not going to cut it in court.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
The
hardly
judge.
so-
The judge would have laughed at.
You know,
yeah.
even though I'm from the oldie times, a quarter's still not enough for that.
No.
That might have worked for Gunsmoke time.
Yeah. How much were phone calls back then? A nickel?
It was 10 cents.
10 cents.
10 cents. But yeah, but that was my only brush
This is
with
something
jail.
else I just learned about you today. Mark has been arrested.
So I
for
thought I shared all this
soliciting
stuff, man.
prostitution. No.
Yes.
I'm
But
shocked.
yeah, I was a hot mess. And then when I
Oh.
quit drugs in 1988, I went to go stay with a friend of mine who said that I could stay with him as long as I didn't bring any of that nonsense in his house.
Mm-hmm.
And I could stay there. And what the rule was is he would cook, I had to clean up the house. And I could
Okay.
stay there rent free. You know, I don't want it to dry
He
out.
would cook food. Let's establish that it was food.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and I just kept it out, and everything went fine. But you know what happened? What happened was I just went to other just like
Right.
any other addict, you just go to another habit. So I
Yeah.
went to food.
You quit drugs, picked up food, and then you picked up alcohol, and then you realize, oh, drugs are still here.
Yeah, no, I stayed away. They stayed away from drugs after that. So no, there was never any drugs in the 1990s. The only time I ran across it, there's somebody that that was very famous on the radio. I don't want to say the name, and his son was my engineer.
Was he a Florida person or a Georgia person?
Florida person.
Okay.
And I was doing lives. My overnight show I was doing from a nightclub, or
Right.
half of it,
Right.
right? And he says, "Come on out to the station van. Let's see if what it sounds like on the radio, and make sure it's." So I went out there, and he reaches underneath the van seat and pulls out. I'm telling you, I don't know what this is in cocaine weight, but I would guess.
Couple pounds.
I would think so.
Wow.
And he snorts a couple of them. And then he goes, you want one? And just for a clear second, because now keep in mind now, it's my first full-time radio gig on a good-sized market.
You don't want to mess that up.
No, and I'm recently, like 6 months married. And I have a baby coming.
Oh.
So it's like, but just for a second, I can't say I did not think it would be that bad, but I'm so glad I didn't do it because I would have went right back into it again. Because you're right, you just go right back into the same crap again if you keep around it.
It's like, I forgot how fun this was.
Yeah. So, but that's So meanwhile, fast forward when I saw you, and we started working together when I left West Palm.
You went to like South Georgia.
Yeah, for like 2 minutes. And then I got
and then we found
there.
you.
And then I ended up stumbled upon you. At that point, what was going on in my life was I was a heavy drinker, but not all the time. It's just I didn't know my limit. So if it was going to be a drinking night, it was puke and rally night for me. I would just keep going and going.
I will never understand.
And then I also had such a bad self-esteem, which is a perfect place for when you work in radio. That's where people go that have bad self-esteem and that like punishment too.
Wait, what are you saying about me?
No, I'm just saying that if you have bad self-esteem, it's probably the worst place to go because
I can't tell you how many therapists have told me that I have low self-esteem.
But
that explains the radio problem.
But she said, my wife at the time was in and out of friendliness.
Okay.
So I would like to flirt, and sometimes flirting would go out of hand. So I was having affairs and drinking.
Mark, I'm stunned, shocked.
Because you didn't know that either, did you?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Banging all these girls.
Now you know why I'm in. Why I'm still in, and I'm not. All those habits are all gone now. I'm working on what they call codependency.
Mark is what they call a friend of Bill W.
Yes, and everyone else.
I don't understand it because I don't have addiction problems, so I am not a qualified person to even begin to understand what addiction is. Although I used to think that I was addicted to cherry Coke. And I just kind of quit drinking cherry Coke a couple of months ago. And that paid off for me yesterday. I went and got my teeth cleaned. And the hygienist says, he's like, what's going on with you? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you were really easy today. Usually this is way tougher. I'm like, oh yeah, I quit drinking Coke. So I switched from Coke to fancy waters. And she said, well, whatever you're doing is working. So keep doing that.
Well, you had a...
So I quit Coke too.
I kind of wish it was only that one that I had.
But
they're kind of hard to quit too.
No, I mean it's really not. You just like I buy a 12-pack of cherry Coke. I'm like, oh, I've only got 2 left. All right. Oh, I've only got 1 left. I'll drink that on the weekend. And then it's like I just won't buy any more. And that's all there is to it. I don't even think about it. It doesn't even bother me.
So, I got an idea. And I'm going to run something by you, and you let me know if you might be addicted to this.
Ideas.
Erica and Mark. The phone call.
I think, personally, you do have, and you may still have, yes,
you talking about me?
To something.
I have slight addiction, but it's nothing I can't quit. It's expensive cars.
Okay, that's one. Yeah, but I was going to. I was.
What,
I
is
was
there
gonna
another
say
one?
You're kind of an adrenaline junkie.
I used to be. I'm not as
No?
bad as I used to be, but yeah, a little bit maybe. I don't know. I'm getting old, but I don't know how old I am. So nobody tells me. So I just keep doing the same stuff I did when I was.
Well, see, when I was
25.
in recovery, when I was running across some things that I did, and I said, well, I never ever thought to myself like I was trying to hurt myself or do anything like that. But then some of the things I did were very risky behavior that could have caused death easily.
But that's how you know you're
So
alive.
it's like, yeah, I guess I did. But when you say like, yeah, your speed, let me see, you like to go really really fast.
Eh,
Always, you were always, yeah.
occasionally I'll go to a racetrack. I don't go as much as I
No.
used to.
But when I knew you, that, and then you like to jump out of perfectly good airplanes.
I don't know what you're talking about. If my daughter's listening to this, that never happened because she's pissed at me for not taking her
Also,
skydiving.
man, oh man, I don't know how many times when the Air Force base there at Warner Robins would have the air shows, and you got into every
Oh,
plane.
my God,
you would
I
get
got-
in
I
planes
got
that
all
looked
the
like they were
flights.
never
It was-
going to even fly.
I got all the flights. I got flights with the Thunderbirds, with the B-24, the B-25 Mitchell, whatever it was, that old World War II plane. I got into the biplanes, the old T-38 trainers. You name it. I got to fly in it, and it was
Right.
great. I still like to fly in small planes. Small planes are fantastic. I'm sure it's super dangerous if you're looking at it from the outside and think about it too much, but it doesn't seem dangerous because everything is so safe. The pilots are all very good pilots, and everybody's a professional and well educated, and these airplanes are not cheap. You don't want anything to happen to them. So I really do feel safe when I fly with my friends who have small planes.
Well, I know one thing, that you are very level-headed. That's why it surprised me so much.
I am an Aries, so that's what
When I
we're
got a
known
pho-
for.
I got a phone
Level-headedness.
call, was it? I'm going to guess what time it was, but let's say could have been in 2010 when you called me.
Probably.
You know what I'm talking about?
2009.
Would have been around that.
Yeah, 2009.
'Cause
Yeah.
I remember you calling me. Do you remember? And you said you had something to share with me.
I did.
And do you remember what I said?
No. What did you
Now
say?
I could be making this up, but I don't think so because I wasn't doing drugs or alcohol at all.
I don't know, man. I've had some
But I
concussions,
think I
so my
might have
long-term
said,
memory.
and this is the story I have in my head. But I found lately that some of the stories I've made up are just all bullcrap. But it was mainly during my drugs and alcohol days. Like I made stories up. But
So what
I
do you
think
think
I
you said?
I think you said I have something to share with you. And I said,
Yeah.
I think I said, if I'm not mistaken, that you're a woman now?
Oh, did you might
think
have
I
said
did.
that. You're right. And I said,
And
yeah.
I wasn't surprised. And here's the weird thing that
How are you not surprised? We never
I know,
talked
but
about
here's
that ever.
why. And this is going to be the weirdest thing, but this is what I feel is you always had such sound advice
Uh-huh.
that it was like talking to
Talking to a chick, just say
yeah,
it.
but more like a sisterly or motherly figure type thing. Like, in other words, someone that was going to give you sound advice, not just some crazy person, but like somebody would just
Right.
the advice was too sound to be male way of thinking, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
I don't
I
know
guess,
how to
all
explain
right.
it, but I always said that I trusted you with anything that you said. Your advice I took, and not only took and said, okay, I'll put that in there with my other mix. Like I would follow that whatever that lead was. And I had a lot of issues that you and I have worked through. Thank you. Saving me from a psychologist, from my marriage to all
Yeah, you're
kinds of
welcome.
stuff, my kids that were acting up and everything else in between. But it was like you always give me great advice to go to, and you don't get great advice from everybody. You know.
Well, thank
No,
you
so-
then.
But that's why I think it was
I don't
never
know.
the thing. It was not a surprise to me. It was just not a surprise to me at all. And I thought I would have
You were
been
like,
shocked.
oh, well, that makes
But, you know,
sense.
so many people like I've had people ask me, and actually recently, I was talking about you to one of my accountability partners that I'm an accountability partner for. And he was going through a situation with somebody he's friends with. And for whatever reason, I say, here's how I word it. God put it on my heart to talk to him about you. And I just randomly started talking about doing a podcast maybe and all this stuff, right? And I said, it's kind of weird. I said, because we used to work together and we were Eric and Mark and we did a morning show, but now her name is Erica. She's a transgender.
It's hard. It's hard to say.
Transgender. And he goes, oh, and you guys still talk and things like that? And I go, and I could tell it wasn't like a Christian, like, oh, what are you doing that for? Hanging around with that?
There are some judgy
so
people
I said,
out there. Yes.
But it didn't come off to me that way. It was like question. I said, oh yeah. I said, listen, I don't have to understand any of that. I said, I don't have to understand that my daughter's gay. I don't have to understand it. I don't even have.
It's not your path to walk.
But it doesn't matter. But if I'm a Christian, truly, we're called to love everybody. It didn't say some people or the people that are on the same side or anything like that. It just says everybody. So
yes. Being a Christian does not give you license to be intolerant.
I said, to this day, one of my best friends, period. I have like 5 what I call best friends that I can pick up the phone and call 10 years from now, and we'll pick up like it happened, like we were yesterday. And you're on that list of 5, and you're also in my list of people that I trust with my life, my sobriety, and everything else.
I would bury a body with you, Mark.
So but it's like,
let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Yeah, it was quite a. And then you I don't know how much you want to share, and I don't know how much time we got left, but maybe we could talk about it another time. But when you shared with some of those things with me about how you felt back then and stuff, because then we got to the really serious talk, and I felt, I'm going to tell you, I hope I don't cry because this is serious.
I had a bit of a rough time when I was going through everything for 40 years.
Really horrible after that phone call, and you know what I felt bad about?
Why? There was nothing you could do.
But I felt like, I'm so self-absorbed. I'm telling, I'm telling you at that time.
I never thought that about you.
I got all these issues, and like you needed me to be there for, and I, nonchalant, just worry. Oh, woe is me. Woe is me. I'm drunk. Oh, woe is me. My wife is this. Oh, woe is me. My kids are crazy. And I never once thought about how you felt, and I don't think I ever asked you how you felt.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something I used to tell my ex-wife all the time. This is not a competition. It doesn't invalidate your feeling. Your feelings are very real, and they are yours, and they are perfect. They are no different than mine, except they are. They're yours. It doesn't mean that yours are less than mine, or mine are more than yours. They were just problems that we were having, and I didn't tell anybody either. I didn't tell. My sister was the only person who knew I had these things going on in my head since I was a kid. But that was it. And I never did anything about it because I didn't want to fuck up my life. I was a morning radio jock on a rock station, and I had all these friends driving the cool cars, and why would I blow all of that up? And I would just suffer in silence. And that's what I did. I just got used to it. You live your life for everybody else until I kind of snapped. But that's a whole other podcast, my friend.
Yeah. So, well, we need to wrap things up, I think, because they said that you can't talk too long because people's attention span are really poor, and we don't have any Led Zeppelin records that we're allowed to play.
So are mine. Oh, my attention span's really bad.
I know. While we're making this,
I'm losing interest in myself.
While we're making this podcast, you're busy doing a TV log, maybe. Allegedly.
Yeah, I've actually been, well, it is after hours and I am working after hours, but technically I work for a station on the West Coast of the United States, and it's only 3:00 in the afternoon there, whereas it's 6:00 where I am. So technically I'm off, but not really.
Well, so hopefully you guys will check us out. This was our introductory version here. We're going to just do one a week and make our phone calls like we always do. We're going to talk about tech stuff. We'll talk about our personal lives. Even if we can find some, we know we have some old radio bits. Some of them might be pretty good. We used to laugh, so we might play some of those.
No.
How about
please,
like Dewey or any of those?
Yeah, I have.
You know,
that
we can just
stuff,
talk
yeah.
about it, I guess, and I'll just try to run those people down, maybe.
All right.
I know
I'll
one
dig
of
some
our
that
people
stuff
that we
up.
used to
Fine.
have on the show a lot would probably want to do the podcast with us.
Who?
Or would they?
Who? Oh, there was a guy that was on our show. His name was Lou from
Yeah.
That's got to
Yes,
be you're
yes,
talking
yeah.
about. I think he's pissed at me about the
I
whole
think so
transgender
too.
thing.
But
I haven't
it's like-
talked to him
it's
in
like,
years.
I think so too. And he approached me and about that. I said little something, and I said, "It just doesn't bother you." I said, "Nah."
It's still
No.
me.
And I try to explain to people, if you really, I'm not going to fight you over doctrine and religion and things like that. I have my own personal walk with what I call Jesus, and which is the same as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And
it works
Yes,
for you, doesn't it?
And
Yes.
I've never
Good.
been one for judging people. Oh no, I've always been one for judging people, and it got me nowhere. And I don't win any extra points for judging people, so I'm going to let people be them. Everyone has their own walk to walk, and that's the end of it. That's what I told him. I said, and she's doing her walk, I'm doing my walk, and you're doing yours, man. And
Right. Mark doesn't care that I'm an atheist.
I really don't. I wish you wouldn't be.
No.
And I would say that my goal is to try to change you, but you just got to make that choice on your own. That's the one thing about God is He doesn't make you do it. That's what free will is all about. You got to choose.
Mark, I figured it out in Sunday school when I was about 11, and I don't know if I'm going to change.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
don't see it
That's all
happening. I have a bit of a scientific mind. That's the the Y chromosome.
And
That's what the problem is.
and believe it or not, I know a lot of people won't believe that, but God loves you anyway. So, and He loves me too. He even loved me when I was at my worst.
I'll take
so
it.
That's it.
I don't even get mad when people say I'm going to pray for you. I was like, well, that's a nice thing. Thank you.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. No, I'm not insulted about you. I admire people that can have religion and have faith, because if that's something that they need in their life that helps them get through, because life is hard. And if that's what it takes to help you get through whatever it is that you're doing in life, then have at it. But if you want me to start living like that, then we're going to have a problem. But that's never been.
No.
You're not like that.
No. I just not. It's not.
But if you want to make laws against me, then we have a
Yeah,
problem.
there's people need to be able to make free choices to do what they want to do, period. And that's the end of it. And you may not agree with them,
As long as it doesn't hurt
or
anybody
you may
else.
not agree,
yes.
or you may agree, and it doesn't matter one way or another. But to be ugly about it's not doesn't win any. It doesn't shine very well for the.
No, I don't have time for that. And sadly, everybody has a superpower. Do you know what mine is?
Ignoring people,
No.
ignoring ignorance.
No, it's my mouth. I can make anybody cry. I can make an ignorant person cry. Somebody attacks me and they're going to be looking at themselves, and I did it to my cousin. I'll tell that story on a future podcast.
Phone call. Stop
Shut
saying
him the hell up.
podcast.
What
You
did I
said
say?
podcast. Well, it's not a podcast.
Oh, right.
It's a phone call.
You said that we were going to turn the phone
yeah,
call
but
into
we're
a
going to still
podcast.
call it the phone call.
So are we on the phone
Yes.
right now?
We're recording this,
Yeah, it
and this
sounds pretty
should
good.
be up and running, and people are listening to it right now, wondering why.
Dude, there's no one listening this far into this podcast. They turned us off hours ago.
I wonder if there's a way. I'm sure there is a way, and I'm sure we'll know real quick if no one's listening because they'll cancel us. Not because we're not any good, but because they can't make any money.
Oh, you know what? If people want to call and complain, where are they going to go? Because back in radio, people used to bitch about our shows
Well, they
all the
could
time.
they could go to, if they want to, if they're on Facebook still, and they can go to our Facebook.
we do
page,
have a
which is
Facebook page,
Erica
yes.
and Mark, MARK, the phone call, and it's Erica with a C, right?
Right.
And
an A.
Erica
Yes,
and Mark, the phone call.
That A was very
And
expensive.
we're going to go ahead and that was a funny joke. I caught that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So we're going to
first
say
time.
goodbye now, and then we'll be a little more natural next time, hopefully.
I'm not sure it's going to get
No.
much better than this.
This might
This is the
might
phone
be it.
call.
Hope you enjoyed the phone call.
I'll talk to you next
All right,
week,
I'll talk
buddy.
to you.
Erica and Mark, the phone call.